Today, our speaker is going to be Dr. Eyyup Esen, and his topic is Displacement to Determination, a Refugee's Journey of Hope. He is extremely well educated and has received numerous educational honors, which you can check in Doug's newsletter. He has in that link. He's currently involved with the Dialogue Institute, also known as the Movement of Global Warming of Hearts. Published his first book in 2018, Global Warming of the Heart. And he enjoys working with people of diverse backgrounds, with his ultimate goal being to depolarize the world. If we just start with the US, that would be good.
I like that. Thank you so much. Shall I begin?
Well, unless you want your meditation first. Your preference. Why don't you go first and I'll do the meditation after?
Thank you. And thank you so much. It's great to be back here. This is my third time, I guess. And I just prepared a new PowerPoint presentation for you. This is kind of my life journey. And you'll see what I have on my plate, that I am sharing my PowerPoint. Wait, where did it go? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's how my journey started. Came to the US to get my master's and PhD with University of Cincinnati, Park University, and KU. Well, I want to start with this video. This is my younger self. You would see some Shaquille O'Neal or NBA basketball players posters behind me from college years. Let's see.
ਆਓ ਜੋਜਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਦੇਖੀ ਟੱਫੇ ਵਾਜੇ ਤੂੰ ਪਟੀਨ ਖਾਟਾਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਨਾ ਦੇਹਾਂ ਪਣੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲੇ ਅੜੇ ਘਰਾਂ ਚੋਂ ਹੀ ਲੱਭਣੀ ਕਰੀਕਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਲੱਭਦੀਆਂ ਲਾਸ਼ਾਂ ਗਲੀਆਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਰੀ ਦੀ ਸਲਾਮ ਇਹ ਪੱਕੇ ਆ ਅਸੂਲ ਜੇ ਅੜਜੇ ਕਰਾ
At high school and college, I had all the posters of NBA stars back then, including Michael Jordan, Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. So the first part of my presentation would be a little bit sad, maybe, or could lead you to some deep thoughts. And then I will share a poem that how to show how I responded to all of these issues that I had. Then how I turned in a way that depression to action. Let's see. So July 15th, 2016 was like a turning point in my life, that I was just meeting a friend, a professor from Park University, just having coffee. And he went to restroom, and I was just checking my phone, messages. Then I realized I got many text messages, and phone calls, by the way. Just people were asking, hey, what is going on in Turkey? And even I got messages that I was the traitor to Turkey. And I was like in a shocking moment, like, what is going on? What is happening? So I went to, Twitter back then to see what is going on. And there was an attempted coup in Turkey. And all of a sudden, me and many of my friends who have been working on peace, pro-education, democracy, have been labeled as terrorists. The moment I got those messages and read the news that there was an attempted coup in Turkey, my first reaction was, in 4 hours, that coup attempt would be over, because we had a similar thing years ago that helped the government to get more votes, because the way they promoted it, hey, see, different like groups are attacking our country, so we have to be united. So many people just started supporting the government, as they control the media, they control the mosques. Say, I think now there are 90,000 mosques in Turkey. Unfortunately, a place of propaganda. that supports the government's ideas, which are more unfortunate towards dictatorship. But as a person, so I was, getting that message that you are a traitor to your own country was shocking. Even my life, me and my friends have dedicated our life for peace, not just locally in the world, have been labeled as terrorists. So getting that moment and also messages, don't come back to Turkey. So that was definitely a shocking moment. So I went back home and I was talking to my parents, and they were just trying to pretend that it's not really a big deal. It's just a small thing that I should not worry about. Then, reading the news, all the torture, all the killing, and just like, all those like messages just kind of made me shocked. I just couldn't leave my room for 3 days. Imagine that you dedicate your life for peace, and then the next day you are labeled as terrorists. On TV, on social media, it was definitely a time for isolation for me. Then, when you realize that you are not, in a way, able to go back to your own country, it kind of led to depression. Thanks God, it wasn't really a long depression time for me. But first time I thought, I I wouldn't say like I had suicidal thoughts, but I would say more like there is no point to live, longer. Uh, but I thought, if someone like kind of crashes like my car, I will be fine to die. It wasn't like kind of want to commit a suicide on one hand directly, but I'm like, the life can be over. Someone can hit my car, and I'm fine with that. Definitely all these thoughts, and separation from your own family. And now I have not seen my parents, but also other family members for 9 years. I got a job. I was applying for different jobs, and I ended up at Wichita State University. And as you imagine, I'm not, from the US, so I needed a work visa. As a student, we actually can get like work permit for like 1.5 years almost. But then you need a permanent work visa. And I thought it would be easy to get it through a university because I'll be working for a university. But then I realized it wasn't so easy to get that work permit, the permanent one, through even a university. And although I never wanted to apply for asylum, I ended up, I worked with a law firm. Actually, they said I would be eligible for a work permit because of my academic background, but it required so much paperwork. And for 2 months, I just couldn't do anything. And imagine all these like stress full moments because of what was going on in my country that was affecting me here as well. So anyway, I ended up applying for asylum. That word, like refugee, asylee, I think refugee is more a popular word. So technically, I am an asylee, but as an umbrella term, refugee covers both refugees and asylees like me. The main difference, I was in the US to apply for it. Refugee, you have to be in a different country to get that recognition. But you remember probably Syria, like the civil war in a way, their war. So that's the first time well, not the first time, but probably um, I mean, I hear about them. It was, I mean, very close to Turkey. So there were a lot of refugees from Syria coming to Turkey. But also, I was seeing some Africans, trying to go to Europe, but on a boat, and the boat sometimes capsized. It never made sense to me, like, why do you take such a risk to leave your own country to go to another country? Definitely, I was younger. I wasn't able to relate to them. And I just like to me, that was the image of what asylee or refugee meant. Always kind of near death experience as well. So it took time. I resisted not to apply for asylum. I just didn't wanna, I don't know, I just didn't want to get that like title in a way or name, asylee or refugee. It just didn't feel right in a way. Plus, but I had to apply to keep my legal status. I ended up applying for asylum here. Then, but what that meant, at least for 5 years, I would not be able to go to my own country, which meant I wouldn't be able to see my own parents. Yeah, it was the last time I was in Turkey. I flew September 8th from US Minneapolis and to Turkey, then came back on December 3rd. December 1st is my birthday, and I wanted to extend my stay in Turkey for a few days so that I could celebrate my birthday with my family without knowing that it would be my last birthday celebration with my own family. So all of these thoughts, I think around that time, I also started another master's at Park University on communication and leadership. That really helped me, but also I just started doing more research on like how to motivate others, uh, how to make like other people happy, have the conflict resolution, self-care. I did a lot of research on that. I think all of that research really helped me to get out of that, like to get away from those negative thoughts and move to more, instead of like feeling I feel stuck, started focusing on what I can do. That was a major transition, I would say, in terms of perspective. Because by the way, when these issues, the attempted coup, all this oppression, now more like human rights violations that thousands of highly educated individuals are political prisoners in Turkey. I am even actually personally, I'm on their wanted list. So if I go to Turkey, I would be in prison. I wish I added that picture here. I just didn't think about it. But yeah, it is online also. So then that means I will not be able to go to my own country for a while. At least, as of now, it's been 9 years. So, life moves on that I was not a person, I think it's kind of social pressure, but also the parental pressure that they want their kids to get married. So I wasn't highly interested in marriage because I'm like, I already have a life. I mean, I think I was so used to live a very independent life. Um, but first time in my life, I started praying about marriage. And right after like 2 weeks or within 2 weeks, a close friend here in Kansas City kind of talk about my wife or future wife to be, and they thought we would be a good match. So we ended up in meeting and decided even have the on a Saturday afternoon, two of us got to meet. Saturday evening, I went to her parents' home and got to meet the parents and sisters. The next week, we got engaged, and in 2 months, we got married. But the interesting part to me in this marriage or our wedding, this is a photo from our wedding. We had 400 people in our wedding. My best man is a Methodist woman. Our MC was a Unity minister. I don't know if Kelly Isola talked to your group before. I don't know if you know who she is, but she is a Unity minister who was our MC. Uh, in Turkish culture, we also has a best man culture, but to me, I thought, oh, it's just tradition, and I don't want to follow the tradition. I don't want to have a best man or whatever. But then I thought, if I can, if there is another purpose than just tradition, which is to me like conveying that message of unity. Okay, I want to have a best man, but I just asked two religious leaders to check if it is okay to have a non-Muslim best man. And they said, yeah, you can have anyone you want. They don't have to be a Muslim. So I picked that Methodist woman, and that's how, and with this wedding, we had 400 people, 200 American friends. Actually, I just for the sake of simplicity, 200 Turks, 200 Americans, but I think we had people from 10 different countries actually. And we did use Zoom back then, and people from 10, 15 different states and countries joined our wedding. And but the first week of our marriage during our honeymoon, our friends, we each year visit Washington, D.C., the senators and representatives, to talk about the contributions of Turkish Americans to local community, but also to speak about the human rights violations in Turkey. And it was just in the middle of our honeymoon. We got married January 4th, and those visits were scheduled for January 7th and 8th. And my friend said, you don't really need to come. You just got married, enjoy your honeymoon. But it just didn't feel right in my heart. And I talked to my wife, she supported me to go to DC. So, in a way, I took a day off from our honeymoon to go to DC to meet with those senators and reps. Because I thought, the word honeymoon is such a unique word to me. I thought about the kids who were not allowed to taste honey in Turkish prisons, and I thought about adults who were not allowed to see the moon. So I'm like, I have to be there because I have the freedom and independence. That is, Thanksgiving, everyone asks, oh, what are you grateful for? The last 9 years, my response has been in freedom and independence. It's taken for granted, which many people may not be aware, but that is to me, I mean, the joy I had to exercise to go to these visits. So yeah, let's see what is coming. And I actually, from now on, I'm gonna share a poetry to respond, like how I responded in my daily life to all of these like negativity that I shared. So I responded with a poem, but that is my lifestyle, you would see. Had my wedding 5 years ago, 400 people attending, except my parents. The right to travel was hijacked. By whom? No need to mention their name. This is my wedding photo with my parents. I believe in destiny fully, but think of my parents all the time. If they were sad, I reminded myself they were at our wedding, watching us on the camera, wearing their nicest clothes, eating Starbucks chocolate chip cookies. Maybe some bad people, no need to mention their name, were happy that they separated us. Please remember, you did not separate us. We were in Chicago in June, walking by the river walk, going up to the John Hancock signature room, looking at the beautiful city of Chicago together. We were in Miami in July, getting on the speedy boat, listening to the sounds of the waves. We were in San Antonio in October, on the boat with our Mexican guide, laughing at his jokes together. We were in New York last summer, on the Manhattan sightseeing cruise, having our tea, as we did on the Bosphorus boat tours in Istanbul. We were in Kansas City all the time, going to Roselle Court, having our favorite coffee, roastery. Every weekend, having our breakfast together, turning our video on, sipping our tea sometimes, Having Turkish coffee yesterday, I don't like it that much, but I drink it as it reminds me of you, my sister, you, my mother, you, my dad. Chatting and laughing, keeping our tears private, but our laughter public. Sometimes it was me who was flying to Istanbul, arriving at the airport, deciding to go to the Blue Mosque because we were a little depressed, contemplating but also feeding the hungry birds, hungry to see us. Maybe, who knows? Took a cab to Taksim. Never loved it, but I miss it now. Crowds pulling me downhill towards Dolmabahce, like old times with mom and my sisters. Tea by the water, waves hitting rocks, splashing me awake. Wanted to walk to Rumeli Castle. Too far now. Still, I miss every step along the Bosphorus. I told you, we are always together, always next to each other, in our spirits, in our dreams, in our realities. Let's not talk about them anymore. No need to mention their name. They they thought they separated us, but I told you, we are forever together and eternally together, inshallah, God willing. So that is my approach to life. The last maybe 5, 6 years. Definitely the first years, first months were more difficult, more challenging. Now, I wanted to share how I put these kind of thoughts in or imagination, imaginary world, like imaginary thoughts in my poem into action in my life here locally. We are all human beings. Sometimes when we talk about interfaith dialogue, I feel like we are making it more complicated, more complex. That our bottom line, we are all human beings. We have emotions. Let's say if you get sick, if I bring you food, then you will be happy. You will not be happy because you are a woman. You won't be happy because you are American. You'll be just happy because someone cared about you. Really. It doesn't matter if you are a woman, if you are a man, if you are a Christian, if you are atheist, Jewish, Muslim, whatever. Our emotions are our kind of common point that everyone wants to be loved, everyone wants to be hugged, everyone wants to be respected. If I, say kind words to Doug here, he will be happy. But if I insult him, he will be, disappointed. Not because he's a man or he's American, because it's just human being. So keeping all of these minds, just sharing some of the photos. I mean, I had a friend whose son was in emergency ER. We are like, they will come back home and they will be hungry. Let's make some food and just took it to their home and leave it by their door. And these are some of the photos. And the one on the right, my one of my friend lost his dog that he owned for many years. We just ordered a cup with his dog on it, and that made his day and his parents' day. And these are more inspirational posts that I gathered from a couple of other friends. The one on the right is a family, Turkish family, who had to also flee from their own country, now living in a refugee camp in Netherlands. But even in that refugee camp, they are able to find motivation to host another refugee for a breakfast in their home. You know, that's how they find the motivation. The woman on the left, another refugee family, after definitely, settling down in Louisiana, um, this girl is one of their staff. This guy, the refugee family now owns a coffee shop and they, employ staff. And this girl, worked there for a while and decided to, quit the job. And this refugee family organized a farewell party for their staff just to make her day. At the time, we talk about, rights of the, workers and such. And this is how we find motivation. This is, some pictures from our daily life, going to enjoying our life in Kansas City, US, coming together with people. I even don't want to say like, oh, people from diverse backgrounds. I just want this to be organic and natural. This is our life. Nigerian family, American family, a Methodist pastor, um, just a woman who doesn't have follow any organized religion. But that is the joy, that is the hope, that is the motivation I find in life. And but also I just try to share these kind of posts on my social media that I practice in my daily life. Really. Now we have a baby, we have a son who is 319 days, Yusuf Shak. We really want him to love all the babies or all the people in his life. Without having this, my vision and hope for future is saying, oh, I have a friend from like, I have a Jewish friend, I have an African American friend, I have an atheist friend, I have a Muslim friend, Christian friend, wouldn't sound very interesting. It wouldn't be really newsworthy, that it would be so natural and organic. And another hope is we won't need dialogue institutes. It wouldn't be such a unique or interesting organization as dialogue would be so organic and natural. And but also just recognizing other people's life or like good job in a way. Say Golden Scoop, I don't know if you heard about them, but it is an ice cream and coffee shop in Overland Park that employs people with disabilities. Just enjoying life, supporting them means a lot. 4th of July is around, the corner, well, still a few months. That's, we want to be integrated in this community, not just having our own Turkish town or Muslim town, but enjoy 4th of July when it is 4th of July. Being with our friends with their around their birthday. If it is a Muslim family, the one you see in the middle, we want to celebrate their religious holidays. But again, no matter what background they are coming from, just be together with them. Easter, passed a few weeks ago. Just celebrate that. You may have an elderly friend who had lost his wife um, recently. Just be with him. Sometimes I forgot who said this, but it's one of the famous people. But instead of asking like what you can do for others, do something. That's like I love this saying. But again, sometimes we love a lot of sayings, a lot of quotes, but the issue is practice. Put in, and one of, this friend lost his wife, so we try to visit him, and have coffee together. And he's elderly, he's unable to drive, so he prefers us to go to his home. And before Ramadan, we got together with Southern Baptists, very liberal Christians, Jews, and Muslims, and got ready for Ramadan, like cutting up chicken and for like 600 pounds of meat. Can you believe? With 29 people in 1.5 hours. Sometimes it looks so like overwhelming. Oh, how are we gonna like manage that like 600 pounds? But again, with 29 people, it just takes 90 minutes. And this is, yeah, just having this like action. I think being an action person really helped me to get out of that depression, to more, because to me there are like a few stages that the first one is you like being a refugee, maybe initially you are the one who needs help. But that doesn't really make you feel peaceful, right? You know, it is then self-sustaining uh, person. You know, you may move to another stage that now you are enough. You don't need other people's help. But the best part is, to me, contributing. Trying, helping others or helping others to be independent. So that's the motivation. That's how I find the energy and motivation. Today it's Sunday. I just intentionally meet this student who is just sixth grader in Turkey. His father was arbitrarily detained, was a political prisoner in Turkey. So I'm like, I cannot go back to my country, but how I can help to those guys. And while talking, he said, he has a kid, like a sixth grader. I said, well, if you like, we can practice English. And that really made his day. Even, imagine as a sixth grader, for an 11th-year-old, someone from US means like a magical person, really. And you really make a difference in that person. And now, he said he wants to be a pilot, and I have a pilot friend, and maybe in the following weeks I want to connect them. And again, that would be very, I know, motivational for him, I would say. And these are some photos where we celebrate. I mean, my best man organized birthday parties for me, or actually this was from a Thanksgiving. On the left hand side, around Christmas, our friends, our kids do, these are cards. Actually, it was just blank cards. Those decorations were made by Muslim kids, and we want them to be educated on and respectful on the holidays that people from other faiths are celebrating, are recognizing. And I think, and this is the last one, our baby's birthday party. And this is Yusuf Shak is the name of our baby. And we like to do more like a community celebration. Do we want to share our joy not only with family or close friends? So like we are expecting this birthday party to have about 200 people. Already 120 people are SVP'd, and I think we would hit the 200 people. And that is how we find the joy, how we find the motivation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacques. Lovely, lovely to hear your story. Well, let us go into a moment of meditation to take in what we've heard, reflect. If you're comfortable, put your feet on the floor and sit straight in your seat. Get comfortable. Close your eyes if that's right for you. And breathe deeply in and out slowly. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And if you can, identify any areas of tightness in your body. Perhaps it's your shoulders, your thighs. Consciously relax them. Flow into the moment of being here, in this moment, sharing our time with one another, sharing our gratitudes. Think of something that brings true joy to your heart. It could be a place, a person, beloved pet. Feel that glow of warmth, full acceptance. And from that place of open lovingness, reflect on the community that we are, that our city is, caring for one another. Different in infinite ways from one another, and yet the same, wanting the same things, sharing kindness wherever it appears to be possible, caring for one another in the deepest sense, caring for each other's physical needs, for their spiritual needs, nurturing those who are deprived. Know that there are refugees amongst us who have lost much, who need kindness and loving. Recognize that Shock's story is not the only story of refugees and heartbreak and loss. People who need support and caring all over the world. We are the ones who can provide it in big ways and in small ways, in everyday ways, by keeping our eyes on the prize of kindness and acceptance of one another. We go forth with those thoughts in mind, doing our best to live them in the following week and weeks to come. Now, as you're comfortable, come back to your room.